call the March 17th, 2014 Brattleboro Development Review Board meeting to order. We're down to 5 members right now. We suspect that a couple more will be straggling in before we open the first matter. There's one now straggling along. Mr. Bushy, nice to see you. We may be getting a 7th member as well. I note that because in order to prevail at the Brattleboro Development Review Board, you need to get 6 affirmative votes. We have 7 members with 3 alternates tonight. We'll have a board of 6, maybe 7. But if for any reason your application has fewer than 7, we always give applicants an opportunity to continue to the next hearing where we likely have a full 7 members. And almost without fail, no one has ever taken us up on that offer, but we extend it nonetheless. Thanks for coming. We at the Brattleboro Development Review Board hear applications for land development in the town of Brattleboro. So we'll be asking in turn 4 applicants to come up and tell us about their projects. Typically the way it works is applicant comes up, tells us about the project. We may have some questions. We'll ask those questions. The board will ask the questions first. Once we've kind of exhausted our questions, we'll open up the matter for public participation. We'll ask that if you have any questions or comments regarding the application to direct those towards the board. We'll make sure to keep a running list. And then in turn we'll ask the applicant to respond. We might do that a couple times. Make sure everybody has had an opportunity to participate, and then we'll probably vote on the matter at the conclusion of that hearing. We take a pretty liberal and lax stance towards standing to participate in front of the Brattleboro Development Review Board. We just ask that you come up, identify yourself, and tell us about your connection to the project or your concerns about the project. That liberal and lax stance regarding participation may not be adopted by the Environmental Court, which does a more probing analysis to see if the people who participated at the hearing are interested persons, such that they have some sort of connection and nexus with the project. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We do conduct our hearings on the record here at the Brattleboro Development Review Board, have done so now for maybe 5 years or more. And it's not much different than the hearings conducted by other DRBs in other towns across Vermont, except we do take a pretty meticulous record, so we'll make sure to gather any information that the applicant provides, any information that the interested parties provide, and preserve that record if there is an appeal of our decision to the Environmental Court. The difference, because and we also will take all the testimony, both from the applicant and from interested parties, under oath. The difference between on-the-record review and de novo review for all those other towns is that if there is an appeal of the decision that we make, the Environmental Court doesn't hold a new trial, just reviews our materials, the record that we've created, and the testimony that we've elicited to see if our decision is supported by the weight of the evidence. So in a second or two, I'll ask everybody who's going to participate, either as an interested party or as an applicant, to stand and take an oath. But before that, let me make sure that the matter has been properly warned. Have the matters for consideration tonight been properly warned?
Yes, I have.
Yes, they have. And does anyone on the board have any conflicts of interest for ex parte communications they wish to disclose? I am going to disclose, just because I think it's kind of fun. I am a member of an LLC that owns 38% of a corporation that owns 99% of a corporation that has borrowed money from an affiliate of Housing Vermont. I don't feel that recuses me. I am a second cousin to Housing Vermont, yes. But just want to make sure people are aware that they are affiliated with Brooks House Development in downtown Brattleboro. Yeah. Any other conflicts of interest or disclosures? Great. So if I could have all of those folks who are going to either participate as interested parties or applicants stand and take the following oath. Wonderful. I'll delay a second. Do you affirm that the evidence you shall give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalties of perjury? I do. Fantastic. With that, I'll call the first application, 2014-007, Donald Poole. Request for site plan approval to convert a motel for use as a sales space for an existing flea market. Please tell us about your project.
We have a building on our property that is being used as a motel right now, and our plan is to change the use of that existing building, of the existing motel, into an indoor flea market, and leaving 2 rooms for an efficient apartment at the end of it. Also, the furnace room is going to stay the same, and the rest of it's going to be for sale floor.
Okay. And I've reviewed the application and some comments from the planning department. I thought the comments were especially helpful. I think the matter has been warned as to convert from a motel to a flea market. But the definition of flea market, I don't think it quite fits. It has a kind of an occasional use concept built in, and I suspect that your sales space will be available more than occasionally. When will the doors be open for sales?
The doors will be open all week, 9 to 7.
Okay. Yeah, so it's probably more fitting to call it just a retail space.
Retail,
Yeah.
yeah.
And which is fine, because under our zoning ordinance, the flea market is a conditional use in that district, and so is a retail space. So I think you'd have more flexibility in your operations if we consider the application under a retail store.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So can you tell me when do you intend for the retail space to be available and open for the public?
As soon as we can, I mean.
Oh, like how many days a week? What hours? Sorry.
Monday through Sunday,
Sunday, yeah, Monday
Yeah.
through Sunday.
9 to
9 to 7,
9 to 7.
yeah.
Okay. And any external exterior renovations in connection with the project?
Not-
Any lighting? How about the parking, circulation, things like that?
none of that. The light, there might be a little bit of lighting added just to the post on the outside of the building, so it's
More brighter up there.
brighter.
Okay.
But that is
Okay.
it.
Make sure to work with the planning department and the zoning administrator on the lighting. Brattleboro has a requirement that all exterior lighting be downcast and shielded, so it doesn't cast any light off-site, doesn't
Right.
cast any light up.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the downcast and shielded. I think there was also there was a comment from the fire department that there shouldn't be any parking on Marlboro Road. I don't think you
Oh,
guys
on
get
Marlboro Road itself.
Yeah.
On the road
Okay.
itself?
Yeah.
No, we don't have the parking.
No.
I mean,
We got
I would,
enough
when I was
parking.
up at the flea market every once in a while, I would pull into Marlboro
Right,
Road.
right.
But you'll,
All the
I suspect
traffic
you'll have
would-
less of that now, right?
Right.
Right. All the traffic would pull in that.
Okay. And the Brattleboro Fire Department has requested that there be no parking signs on the south side of the driveway to the motel to allow for emergency vehicle access. So, let's see if we can.
Now, does that mean right across from the motel itself?
So see if I can figure out where that is. Joe's better with directions. South side of the driveway. Yeah.
I was asking to maintain that other side, but I think actually where they park now is on the other side, not part of the building.
So
They had a fire there before, the car parked in the building.
Yeah, so we park right across, like, from the motel itself.
So I'm curious, does it matter which side they have the fire lane on? I'm wondering.
it looks like the fire department wants it on the south side, which is where
See,
where it's
and I'm just-
drawn here.
Right, and I'm just wondering if that's because they assume that's where it's parking isn't. Normally fire lanes are next to the building, I think.
Yeah, but that's not what they've requested. So you intend to park as shown on the plan, which is diagonal parking right in
Yep.
front of the structure, right in front of the motel, not across the driveway.
That's what the fire department wants?
They want you to park right up to the construction of the building?
That's what you have drawn on the plan. You've got your lines, your parking spaces in this plan, whether, I don't know if this is a copy from before,
Well,
from 2 years ago or 3
You
years
can come up
ago.
with one, sure.
Yeah.
See, there's a
See how it shows the spaces right there in front of the building,
Oh, yes.
instead of over here where the cars,
and
Yeah.
that's where you want them?
or that's not where I
That,
want
no,
them.
we wanted to, on this side.
because it's near the building, see, two cars got burned up before there.
Okay, so you're going to flip the parking to over
Yes.
here. And I think that's better. I think the
Yeah.
And then if
fire department.
If there was a fire there, they could pull right up.
Yeah.
Right up
Go right
Okay.
into it.
So we'll just make a condition that you keep this area here open for a
Yeah.
fire lane.
Yep.
So is that the north side?
That's really the north side, yeah. Any other interior renovations to the building? We typically don't care, we just are curious.
On the interior, yeah, there will be 4 bathrooms taken out and
There's walls in
walls
between.
between the rooms taken out. So
Yes.
it's an open area.
I think it's on.
Is it?
Doesn't appear to be.
I should probably just make note for the record that we've commenced hearing 2014. We've taken some preliminary evidence from the applicant and are continuing to do so.
That's 1407.
2014-007. Thank you. Okay, so as I just said, I think we'll condition the application on the maintenance of a fire lane to the north side of the parking area. I'm sorry, so can you tell me about the interior renovations?
Yeah, it's gonna be like, we got 4 bathrooms coming out where the walls are, and then they got the walls in between the rooms. We're gonna take them out. Like, we're gonna leave parts of it on the ends, just so, leave the structure. So it's got the bracing.
And then there's 3 doors that are coming out.
Yes, we got that on there. There's 3 doors would be coming out.
I think it'd be like a consignment shop, is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other exterior renovations, any landscaping,
No.
there's no sidewalk clearly out there.
There,
And an entrance both on kind of the east and west side of
There's
the...
3 entrance ways to get up there. There's a ramp. We have a ramp on there. Then on the other side, there's a step.
Yeah.
And then in the front, right in the middle of it. There's 3 ways to get in.
How about curb cuts off of Marlborough Road there, Route 9?
on each end of the driveway there, that lead out into Route 9,
Yeah.
yeah, those are there.
Okay. And it's a, my recollection is traffic flows at a pretty good clip there, but it's a pretty flat and
Yeah.
Yes.
straight section, right?
Yep.
Quite a bit of site distance.
Yeah.
Which is
Okay, and I think you'll have some state permit requirements as well.
Mhm.
We don't know anything about those, so
Right.
just remind people of that. Wish you well. Any other members of the board have questions or comments regarding the application? Any members of the public have questions or comments regarding the application?
So it's getting approved as a retail store.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm looking for a motion to approve 2014-007 to convert a motel for a retail space as drafted with the single revision that the fire lane be established immediately adjacent to the retail building. And parking signs, no parking signs be installed to indicate the fire lane. And if you install any exterior lighting, that you'll get the permission from the zoning administrator and just bring a sample of the light so he can confirm that it's downcast and shielded.
And the last 2 rooms being an efficient apartment.
Yes, we should do that too. So it's a retail space and one.
2 rooms will be 1 efficient apartment.
2 rooms will be an efficiency apartment.
Yes.
Looking for such motion. Moved
Second.
and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. I abstain. That carries 601. Good luck. I'll call application 2014-017, Steve Saluzny. Request for site plan approval to continue operation of a stone crusher and gravel pit at 161 Mercury Drive. Please tell us why we are hearing this application.
Yeah, basically I'm trying to, as the application says, I'm requesting an extension of permit number 2004-15A, which was issued in 2009. Basically what we're doing is operating a gravel pit, removing some gravel, some rock, processing that material with crushers and screens and on site, also doing some recycling of asphalt and concrete there. I can't think of any changes that we have there. I think it's, we're applying for pretty much the same thing that we've been doing.
And I'm sure I asked you 5 years ago, and now I've forgotten the answer. Why is it that we need to do this? Is this is it an Act 250 thing, or is it
No, it's a town permitted, so I guess it was every 5 years, is it?
we do that for all
2009, so it's every 5 years, I think.
all quarries we do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so 5
and
years.
So no change in the use of the
No, no. No, we modified the Act 250 permit at one point, but that was before the last permit by the town was issued, so there's no changes since that.
And I think I saw here that the permit runs out, the Act 250 permit runs out in 2020?
2022.
2022?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Operations are permitted through October 1, 2022, so you'll be back a couple more times.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. Any other members of the board have questions or comments regarding the application? Any members of the public have questions or comments regarding the application? Hearing none, for a motion to approve application 2014-017 as drafted. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. I abstain. That carries 601. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
I'll call application 2014-019, Housing Vermont for 230 Canal Street LLC. That's for PUD, local Act 250, waiver dimensional standards, etc., etc.
Hi, my name is Greg Gossens. I'm with GB Architects. I'm here with a cast of characters supporting. First is David Koshak from Collard from GD Architects, Amy Donor from Housing Vermont, Chris Hart from Brattleboro Housing, Jane Morano, civil engineer, and Michael Marquis, civil engineer working on the project. So they will, as you have questions, they will come up, if that's okay.
That's
come up and answer.
Great.
Now, since the concept plan that you all saw last time we were here, not much has changed, actually, just a lot more detail.
If you have a chance to especially highlight changes that we may have requested and have now forgotten about, that would be great.
Okay.
I'm not sure we did have any requested changes.
No, not really, actually. But if you recall correctly, it's 55 units of senior housing, 25 cars of surface parking, 39 cars of under-building parking, and generally a 3-story building that is cut into the hill, so the parking cuts in from the lowermost level. It is accessed through the curb cut in the Walgreens, just like before, into the site for a drop-off over here. Cars circulate through here. Here's where the 25-car surface parking is, and then go underneath the building to the little building park. As I mentioned, I think if you're all familiar with that, I don't think I need to revisit it, but probably the most significant thing that's changed, or not changed, that added thing besides a lot more civil engineering, which to your questions probably bring up, is many people usually wonder, what is this thing going to look like? So you've seen elevations for the first time. So here are some elevation views. This is the view from Fairground. And there you can see it's a three-level building with a shallow pitched roof, shingle roof. The exterior materials are generally fiber cement clappers and fiber cement panels painted. This is the drop-off side of the building, and keep in mind this is a long building. You'll never really see it. You know, the elevation drawings are always kind of deceiving, but this is from the Walgreens side, so basically Walgreens would be blocking it from the corner. But what you'd see from the corner of Fairground and Canal would basically be this right here with a large entry porch. And then the building kind of tailing around the front elevation here, kind of wrapping around to that side.
Sorry to bother.
Can you twist a little bit, stand around behind a little bit, so you can catch it with the camera, so some of these folks can see it too?
Okay. Thanks.
The other elevation that we show down here is what we would call the courtyard elevation. That is the interior elevation. And again, it's fiber cement clapboards and fiber cement panels, pitched roof. You can see the roof steps down as the building kind of emerges from the grade a little bit. So it goes from a 3-story building to a 2-story building with the parking with a flat roof on section over here, which we anticipate putting photovoltaic panels on that flat roof section. And then you enter the parking right into there.
That's facing, that lower elevation is facing easterly,
Well, it's
the lower one?
it's kind of
Or
hot.
is it the middle one that's facing easterly?
The lower one faces south generally.
Okay, yeah.
South is that way. You know,
Okay,
this space
gotcha.
is almost due south. This space is almost due north.
Okay.
So the courtyard elevation you saw is basically the
Oh,
building
yeah.
facade as it wraps around there. Street elevation is that facade.
And if I hockey and green these days, that little jog there is a hockey stick. Where's the underground parking? Just on the kind of farthest north?
Yes,
Not the-
north
not-
side. It's
yeah.
almost on the north, it's basically the elevation.
here. Yeah.
Let me go to the landscape plan, which is always a nicer plan to look at. So the parking entry is right here.
What plan are you at? Yeah.
This is the landscape plan, L 4.0.
Okay.
So the parking's on the north.
That's, and how far under the building would you be able to travel to park?
The whole length.
The whole length?
The whole length.
Oh, really?
We're remember, this part of the building right here is totally, the lower level is totally buried under grade. This existing grade starts high here and drops an entire floor here. And that's why we can drop off, go down the hill, and then under the building and drive into the buried part of the building. The building emerges from the ground about here. It starts emerging as the grade tails off right there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fairly large building, but it's buried into the hill, which is nice, and we broke it up to kind of take the scale down with it. And then, as you can see, the Walgreens is here. The Walgreens is a fairly large box of the building. So that pretty much screens this entire elevation. You really only see that much of that elevation.
And remind me that there will be no access, even though it has
Gated.
an address of Canal Street, there'll be no access off of Canal
Right,
Street.
it's gated.
Gated and signed.
Emergency vehicles only.
And it'll be signed out at the
Well,
street.
these people still have they have a right of way.
Oh, they need that.
Yeah, so the pizza place and whatever goes on in that little thing, they have to have access. They have a right of way through this
All right.
area. So there'll be a sign right here saying no go, and there'll be a gate,
Okay.
and that's for emergency access only. So
Yeah.
the only access point is through the Walgreens curb cut down on the site.
And remind me, do you have a deeded right to use the Walgreens curb cut and
Yes.
over that space? We've gotten some comments back from the fire department, but they have some concerns about that. They mentioned people, I suspect they meant students, cut through from Fairground through that Walgreens parking lot behind the building and then out to Canal
Out this
to
way?
avoid the light.
Yikes.
And from their description, it sounds like students do that with some zealousness.
Yeah. I know Rod mentioned maybe doing some traffic calming out here.
Yeah.
We don't own that, so it's something that we'll have to talk to the Walgreens folks about. I mean, we have the right-of-way through here, but how much leeway we have within that right-of-way to do some sort of traffic calming. That's something we really can't promise, but
Okay.
yeah.
Any ideas?
It's definitely a concern that we don't want either, so we're on board with it if we can work it out.
And how about pedestrian then and sidewalk and pedestrian access kind of leaving the site?
This way. This does not meet handicap. That's a fairly steep hill
Yeah.
going down to this gate. So no, the residents are not going to be allowed to go through here. We've
Wow.
graded all of this to meet wheelchair regulations 1 on 20 without even handrails. So that's a real gentle slope. So no matter where you are on the site, here's where you go to go up and get into mass transit or go to the.
And that's
go to
there's
Canal
sidewalk
Street.
on the.
Yes, there's
that
sidewalk
side?
right here.
North side.
Yeah, and then we've got a sidewalk here and then a sidewalk here.
Okay.
Out to it. So if they want to go to the Walgreens, they go right up there. And if they want to
You
get out
think that's where they would go? Because I would just cut across.
right through here.
Yeah, I would even further to the north. Probably.
Well,
just-
no, because there's grade here.
There is?
Yeah, there's grade, and we have a planting screen, pretty dense, but grade starts. There's even a little retaining wall we have right here. It's just the grade starts going down.
Okay. So
So,
folks
yeah.
really wouldn't be able to.
Now, this really would be. You maybe you cut through here, but I probably not. I
So the
think.
combination of grade and plantings will be the deterrent,
Right here,
right?
all along there.
And is that on your side of that obviously?
Yes, it is on our side of the property line, and we set the driveway back so we can do all of our work too without having to get a construction easement.
Is that a sidewalk cut through?
Right here?
Yeah. To the Walgreens park?
Yes. And to stop pedestrian students to starting to cut through, we've got a black fence along here.
Now, when the sidewalk that cuts to the Walgreens property, where does that drop into?
Parking lot.
So there's no, so basically, once they reach the end of the property, they're just
They will be in the parking lot, just as if they parked their car right here. And get across from there.
And you have a right of way, do you have the right to use any of the parking spaces in the
Not that I'm
Walgreens
aware
area?
of.
No, just the right of way over that land.
Guest parking will be where?
Giving the parking ratios that Chris has been finding in all of our other areas in housing Vermont, all the tenant parking will be below building. So it'd be nice, they have elevator access right up to their floor level. So, and that'll really be nice, so all the guests will be down here.
So the only access for emergency vehicles is that they can come in there as
Yes.
well?
Oh, absolutely.
That's going to be
Absolutely.
wide
Yeah.
enough?
Yeah, yeah, all the turning radiuses are set up for that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Remind me again, lighting, do you have a photometric plan? Do you have
Yeah,
exterior
we do.
lighting?
It's,
Did you supply
it's a
that?
sheet prior to this. Right here. LED.
What's the plan number?
You have a plan number. Yeah, ES 101. Oh, yeah, right there.
Okay, so there's lighting in the kind of the north parking area. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes,
What am I looking at?
and then the drive. And these are these pole mounted lights with the drop down LEDs. And then internally in the middle of the site, kind of in that courtyard.
Yeah.
We have some bollards out here just lighting the courtyard.
Great.
That's for tenants only.
So can you just kind of highlight those? This is the easiest plan for me to understand. So there's some lighting there.
Yes, some bollards down here, and then the pole mounted lights in the photometrics show where they are located exactly in here with the cutoff LEDs.
So there's some residences to the east, especially down on
Down here?
Wilson's Woods.
Yeah.
So the pole mounted are going to be primarily on the other side of the building. Those
Right.
probably
And,
won't even be
and they're
visible.
full cutoff, and if you look at the photometrics, they laid out really nicely.
And the bollards are just kind of area lighting.
Yeah, and
just
they
for walkways.
are, they're not like omnidirectional bollards, they are meant to light the path.
Okay.
They're not decorative space lights, they're just to light the path.
Okay. And then how about the stormwater and water retention? I saw some notes that you guys are still working through those issues.
Well, there's
Stormwater to the east is, and then especially to the east and north, kind of at the bottom of Wilson's Wood, is pretty impaired.
right.
And so,
Then Jane and Michael, you want to speak to that at all? You want to give a brief overview of stormwater?
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, they're doing some real nice stuff with it, so. Hold it.
Yeah, I can see because I picked it. Basically, the area, this is the
So
drainage
what plan are we looking
channel.
at?
This is the existing conditions, C101.
Okay.
And the drainage channel on Wilson Woods is currently where the existing storm drain empties into that serves this whole area. Right. So we're going to be replacing that storm drain, and the outfall will come about 25 feet north of where the outfall is now. And then we've had discussions with Rod about, the town may get an easement for this drainage channel to do some maintenance. Because what happens now is from the south, there seems to be some drainage that comes down and empties into lot 25. That area, there's some problems currently existing there that we would like to mitigate, and fix this whole drainage channel. And Rod and Brian, I think, we're having that conversation, trying to upgrade that channel a bit.
Okay.
So those discussions are ongoing.
And what's the existing condition there? There's some pavement, but mostly, is it gravel? What's out there?
In the channel itself?
No, just kind of in for most of the lot, the kind of off of Fairground Road.
Oh, it's packed, fill. There's the torn up pavement. It's very, I would say, impervious. A lot of the part of it is impervious, but.
And so, in addition to then kind of restoring, repairing, enhancing that channel, any other stormwater retention features?
Yeah, and this is strictly to allow continued pass-through from the stormwater from this whole area. We don't want to, we can't deal with everything, but we can deal with what falls on the site. What rain falls on the site, we want to handle on site. So on sheet, let's see, C104, that northeast corner of the lot, that dog leg, is going to be a large bioretention. There's also going to be small rainwater bioretention areas in smaller parts of the site, maybe right up in front on the southern end. We'll catch some of the stormwater there. We're going to catch some of it also in the parking island. That'll be a depressed island, so the stormwater would drain into that as well, and then have overflows if necessary to bring it down through the swale and into this larger bioretention area. So the intent is to keep all the stormwater that falls on the land on that property, but to continue the pass-through for the area storm drain system and to upgrade that drainage channel for that.
What state stormwater permits do you need for the property?
We'll need both the general stormwater discharge permit and the construction permit.
Okay. Anyone else, any other members of the board have questions? We're at, what are we at? We're at preliminary plat now. But we are doing local Act 250 and a waiver of the dimensional standards. We'll probably talk about those more.
Can I ask one more drainage question first? So I'm just looking at, so it looks like your property line for your site goes over the edge of where the bank breaks down, right? Your line's at the bottom based on your elevation drawings there, right?
Yeah, it
Your
does.
property line's down the slope
Yeah,
some.
yeah.
So I'm just curious, and you're keeping everything that's on site there, allowing the pass-through to pass through. So does that mean at the top, at the edge of that bank, you're going to have some sort of swale or berm or something that keeps that? Because right now it looks like that bank just breaks pretty clean. It looks like whatever would roll out there would sheet fall right over that edge down that bank. And I think there is quite a bit of, water that goes down in there. The town has been down in there at least once in the last 5 years to clean out that ditch down through there where it goes down into Wilson's Woods. And I'm just curious how you would, I can't quite see it in there, how you'd corral what is on site into your bioretention area, rather as opposed to keep it from sheet draining off into that swale. Or is that okay if it does that sheet drain off into the swale?
Well, we like to catch a lot of it, and from the parking lot, you can see on this plan, we're draining from the parking lot, we're creating this swale area here, and we're going to try and carry that through to this drainage bioretention
Gotcha,
area.
but everything east of that line or whatever that break, because that grade just keeps rolling downhill there as it heads towards Wilson's Woods.
Right
so,
here?
Yeah, right
Yeah.
in through that area
Yeah.
there. So all that stuff that's on that downside of the building, how will you take all that or keep that from just all going down over that? I mean, will the building have gutters?
The building with the sloped roof will have a roof overhang, and we're dripping into a stone ditch along
That'll connect
that. So
into that
that'll
drainage?
take it there. This back end is a flat roof, and we're going to collect it and then probably pipe that
Solid
to
pipe
the
it in there.
bioretention.
Right.
Also, we may need to put in some other smaller bioretention where they're talking about putting the snow storage, just
You're right.
below that. We may need to do something, and we may need to somehow, regrade that so that it does pull it this way. We don't want to add anything more
To that ditch.
to this area, to that drainage channel. And, so we got to look at that more, but the intent is to try and get it here, or to have grass in this area so that it would sheet flow to slow it down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
A couple of the other approvals that we have to approve tonight are local Act 250 and a waiver of dimensions. And let's start with the local Act 250 first. So, we get to assist the district commission by making some determinations regarding, I think it's three conditions. Any burden on the town's resources, any municipal resources, any on the school resources, and then I think conformance with the town plan, if I remember correctly. So, just briefly, if you could just kind of just talk about those. Will there be an unreasonable burden on the municipality to provide educational services? An unreasonable burden on the municipality to provide municipal services? And is it in conformance with the town plan? Do you wish to submit testimony other than that which you've submitted as a written application? Okay, thank you. How about typically with a PUD we require a 50-foot perimeter.
Right.
And you asked that we not apply that 50-foot perimeter. And you are probably in some places considerably less than 50 feet from...
Yeah, I think 35.
Yeah, 35.
A couple.
Was there any consideration given to kind of a different massing of the facility, maybe a taller and smaller footprint? And if you did do that, why didn't you adopt that plan?
Well, we looked at about a dozen footprints
Yeah.
to kind of wedge this in here. As you can see, this is an odd-shaped property, and if you go 50 feet, 50 feet, 50 feet, that leaves you hardly nothing in the middle. This one, you can see, we really distended the building this way, this single-loaded. That's not an efficient form. You know what I mean? It grew out of trying to deal with the setbacks from the site as much as possible. We're well within the commercial setbacks for this property, and this is zone commercial. We're well within those. The front elevation, we wanted to keep the prevailing street out, the street setbacks. That's, to us, is good urban planning, the prevailing street setbacks. This edge in the town plan, and I guess when this was permitted, there was Brian, you may recall, I know Rod mentioned, there was a desire to have a building face here to enclose, urbanistically, to enclose this space that was just in this parking lot, just didn't bleed off into nothing, so we did hold an edge here. So we kept the street face here, we kept that edge hard. This here, we pulled back as far as we could pull back. We're at 35, or is it David, 35 feet? 35 feet. And we took the narrowest edge of the building and put it within that 35 feet. And then over here, it's only that little triangular part of the building right here. So we minimize the parts that go into that by taking the skinniest parts of the building and bringing it over there to get in there. But yeah, we studied the heck out of trying to get this building mass in the proper form and shape onto the site. We didn't want to go any higher because we think it's a 3-story building on top of a parking garage. We built in the parking garage specifically to keep the massing down. We went with big broad overhangs and pitched roofs.
Yeah.
But visually bring the massing down, we think a 4-story building would overwhelm the transition from commercial to neighborhood. We wanted to have something that served as a transition between the commercial uses on Canal and transitioning over to the neighbors. We wanted to have a friendly, more kind of transitioning from big block buildings to smaller scale to the neighborhood. And that's why we ended up with a little bit broader of a footprint, but a much lower building because of it.
Any thought to bringing the building even closer to the street, kind of having a...
Well, we kept it to what we think is the prevailing setbacks of the neighboring houses.
Yeah.
I mean, we could, but
I'm just wondering.
That was the rationale of where we put it. We
contemplated
did.
that.
We wanted to maintain the street setback of the neighbors.
What's the maximum setback? I don't have to.
It's a POD, so POD we get to make them up. But I don't know in the commercial district what it would be.
But it was trying to reinforce the streetscape.
Yeah.
And then what we did do though with the landscaping, buildings in the neighborhood generally have front yards, sidewalks, and street trees. And that's what we did here. We have the sidewalk, we have the street trees, a yard, foundation planning in a building. Your quintessential neighborhood kind of housing approach, neighborhood approach to a streetscape. And that's what we carried through.
And it strikes me that there's some opportunities, I'm talking about things other than your project, along Canal Street heading north to kind of replicate that, especially in the Price Chopper parking lot, which is, there is an opportunity to bring in some buildings along Canal Street that still have parking on.
That'd be good because that gets a little muddy and fuzzy over there.
Yeah.
But these were the edges we really were concerned about, so we basically enveloped, here's the face of Walgreens, envelop that to create an urban edge.
Show the side that faces, if someone's on Fairground Road, what they're going to see.
Okay.
Because I have it here, it's just not.
A 2.0, top elevation. So these are the street trees. We have kind of a band on the bottom, 2 stories above. And it's all residential, but we broke it up even to kind of have, this which then wraps around and becomes the porch, the entry porch. So it has that kind of porch-like architectural element down low and up above.
And again, just out of curiosity, did you have any designs that would have had the main entrance or an entrance for the building coming off of Fairground Road? That
We did.
side just makes I just want to enter the building there, not through a parking lot and then down, on the backside.
We did, but it would be another curb cut. We sense that
How about just a pedestrian entrance?
pedestrian entrance. Well, we looked at it, but these are elderly housing. We don't want to kind of have dual entries into the building. We wanted one central entry.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Kind of instill a sense of community, but we did, by doing that, then we wrapped that. We brought the porch over, so that's what you see. You'll look across the parking lot and you'll see the porch. They like to hang out on the porch. Who doesn't like to hang out?
Part of the goal, though, we're trying to create more walkable, livable communities. When you create a street front side of a building that has no entrances and exits, it doesn't invite. You don't necessarily invite the public into a senior housing project, but it doesn't create what would necessarily be considered an ideal walk-up community building. creates a kind of faux street side to the building.
Yeah, front yard is the way we looked at it.
Or the side, because you're orienting the entrance to the side of the building, less the actual street side.
Greg, can I there's a couple things about the entry that are very important. And that is that the way it's designed, and we thought about this a lot, it's designed for drop-off and pickup, which is really, really important. And we didn't want to have that activity occur on Fairground Road. That just didn't make sense. So we wanted it to be on this side because this is a more protected side. This is a building that we don't want people to just feel like that they can just walk into it. It's a residence. It's where people live. And I can tell you from our experience with our Elliott Street building, sometimes people wander in there and think that, they can sleep there and they can hang out there. And that's really not what we want. But we did want this to be inviting for the residents and their guests, and for people to have a nice welcoming area, and that's what designing the entrance on that side let us do, by having an extended porch, by having the parking. There's a couple of parking spaces there, handicap spaces, so that people can park, get somebody out of the car into the building, and then move their car. So all of that activity didn't work on Fairground Road. We were really mindful of the traffic concerns about Fairground Road. And that's why we did it the way we did. And in a senior building, we really didn't want to have multiple entrances. They're very, very hard to manage, and security is a concern. We want people to feel safe when they're in the building at night. And too many entrances really reduces their sense of comfort in a building that's in a downtown area. The other is that we have the reality of the high school, and we do not want high school students or anybody that's coming and going to be cutting through the building or across the lawns and creating those kinds of traffic patterns. So that was our thinking about. I mean, we spent a lot of time with Greg thinking about where to put the entrance, and that was why we ended up here.
We also did a kind of a view shed analysis on being in the corner of Canal and Fairground, and found out this elevation is the most visible elevation on the building, and that's where we put the entry porch here. Because if you're at the corner of Fairground and Canal, this is what you're going to see right here. This is oblique. That's dead on, and that's why we put the porch right there.
I don't know if anybody's got elderly parents that live in a situation like this. My mother does, and I agree with you 100% as far as the entrance being on the side and out of the way. I can't imagine there'd be a front entrance to my mother's building on a road that it's probably just as busy as Fairground, especially during the school year. Security doors getting in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how they're going to be keyed or anything. I mean, that'll be up to
Card or something, yeah.
Any other members of the board have questions regarding the application? Any members of the public have questions or comments regarding the application? If you do, please step up to the microphone and introduce yourself.
I know in here, Greg, there is a mention by the fire department about the rear entrance or being able to access the building in the back. I'm not sure, because that would be a concern, because it doesn't seem like there's any way to get in the back of that building.
No, there's sharp grade here.
Yeah.
I mean, they can. There's some grade change here too. Yeah, boy, they'd be hard pressed. In fact, driving
I mean,
a
that's
fire
a
truck.
point
I would
of
not
the-
want to get trapped back there.
Yeah, that's a point that the
Oh, yeah.
the fire department brought up.
It is going to be fully sprinkled.
Okay.
And just fair warning, anyone who watches the Brattleboro Development Review Board will know that we tend to do what Chief Pegasi tells us to do, because he knows far better than we do about fire safety issues. So I don't know if you've seen this, happy to share it, this preliminary plat. You're going to be back here, at least one more time. You're probably in front of the planning. Have you been to the planning department yet? I haven't been planning commission. Once there, and you have another trip back, and at least 1 or 2 trips to the select board.
I'm sure we do.
Yeah. So this won't be the only time people mention, a couple of things. There's some concern about the shared driveway through Walgreens. I tend to like that idea. I think it cuts down on the number of curb cuts, and it gets us to the back sides of our lots without, having to chop up the street. But I think other folks will also express some concerns about that, though. There will be some concern that there's a 3-story building with no access to the rear of the building, and the aerial ladder access is further obstructed by proposed trees at the front and south end of the building. Chief Pegasi has requested a minimum 20-foot wide access road from Fairground Road to run approximately halfway down the rear of the building. This road needs to be maintained year-round. So some sort of access road so the fire department could bring in a truck to the rear of the building.
That would be, we'll talk to them about it, but that would be doable grade-wise.
Okay.
It starts tailing off right about here.
Okay, so if you could,
Yeah.
just work with the fire department to address that concern.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Ask to, see what the resolution of that issue is before the final plan.
We've done some of those.
That creates another curb cut.
Yeah, well, but it's a curb cut that'll be maintained with a lockbox, and nobody will probably have access there, I imagine.
Yeah, I would not, yeah.
You don't want cars.
It
in
would
the
be
back of the
emergency
building.
only.
Yeah.
In fact, there would be a gate.
Yeah. And then, so that's really the only other issue that was mentioned. So, any other questions, comments from the board? Looking for a motion to approve application 2014-019 as drafted with this is only preliminary plat, with the, I guess it's a condition that you contact the fire department and come to an agreement regarding fire access on the east side of the property. So moved. And second? Seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. I abstain, that carries 601.
Thank you.
We'll see you again.
You will.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Diane. I'll call application 2014-020, Rodney Lawrence for Cheryl Applin. Request for a waiver of dimensional standards. That may have been the most professional before our board. At once. Please tell us about your project.
Well, pretty straightforward.
That's how we like them.
I'm here for Cheryl Applin because I'm looking to purchase this piece of property from her and put a home on it. And even though the lot, it's up on Green Meadows, is over the amount of square footage that it needs to be, it is situated on the street, so the long part is this way and the short part is this way. So when you go to put a home and or a garage on it, we find that with the setbacks that we could put it the long way to the street or opposite, but it really doesn't stay with the neighborhood in doing that because all the houses face the street. So in able to situate the home on the lot. I've drawn it up the way it is, where that my thought was that the accessory structures in this district can go half the distance into the setback, that possibly we could get a variance to situate the home so that we could utilize half of the setbacks on either end of it, and thus get the home in there so it's keeps the continuity of the buildings going down the street.
Remind me, I have to admit, I don't know where Green Meadow is.
It's up off on Greenleaf
Horseshoe
Street.
that goes off Greenleaf Street just above Country Club.
Makes a loop right around and comes back off Greenleaf Street. 3 streets up from 7-Eleven on the left.
Up. And then it comes
You go by
around.
7-Eleven,
Yeah,
go up the hill,
yeah.
it's the third left, and you come right around and right back.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right back onto the road.
Okay, and so how far into that green?
It's right on the corner. Mrs. Applin's house takes the corner, and this was an extra lot that they purchased when they bought the home. So it's a lot standing alone by itself.
Mm-hmm. And what would the setback in the district be?
10 feet on the sides and 25 feet on the front.
And your garage will meet the front yard setback.
Yes, it's behind the front yard setback, but being an accessory structure, I put it half the distance into the side yard setback.
Yeah.
And my variance that I'm looking for is to set the home a little to the left more than to the right, because we have a set of steps and a deck.
That's over
Yeah,
there.
to
Okay.
come off there, but it equals out what's left of the setback without getting into the setback any more than what the accessory structure is allowed for.
So, I'm sorry, so you mentioned it's on the corner, so this is, it's like Dave and Barb Henry live here?
Yeah, the Henrys are over here.
Yeah.
The Applin's, the lady that owns it's right there, and then she's right on the corner.
This is that one, this is her lot, and then these are right here.
Okay.
So, see that tree right there? He's got one right there.
I see.
And then we'll show this right there. This is the rough house right there. And the back house right there. So that's-
Okay. Okay. And just, I know you said it, but I'll just reiterate for the record. You could fit a modular home. It's modular.
Yeah, it's a modular.
Modular, like they bring it in with the crane and set
That's
it
right.
down.
It's not a HUD
full-
home. It's a modular, factory built, 2 pieces, comes in as 28 by 62,
What's the roof? Just been a
512.
5-12 roof on that?
Yeah.
Huh. And two modules, I guess.
It comes 2 pods, right?
Yeah. And they're about, what are they? They can get to like 20-some feet wide, right?
It's
26.8.
28 wide. It's 14-foot wide sections,
Yeah.
62 feet long, and they bring
Oh,
them in.
okay,
and
okay.
It's
Yeah.
on a foundation.
Yeah.
It's not a slab, it's a foundation.
On the side where those steps are, on that back corner there?
Yes.
Where it's, that's where you're asking for the waiver, right there on
On both sides.
Yeah,
it'd be
Right on
both-
both sides, right?
Yeah.
But on that corner back there where that is, do you know how far her edge of the garage is from that property line in that area?
I believe it's 5 feet.
Okay.
I think the house to the garage will be 15, and the deck will be -4, or -4 feet.
And how about the Henrys? How far away is the Henrys' residence from the property line?
From the property line, their lot goes uphill like this. They have a swimming pool in the back. It's got to be, oh golly, I
40
would
or
say
50
probably
feet.
30 feet, 35 feet.
Yeah, that's a ways.
It goes right up,
grade,
it's
yeah.
away, yeah. Yeah. I could have brought pictures, I never thought.
They could have come and complained if they had a problem.
I hadn't heard anything from anybody, but, well, like I say, we planned, my wife and I, actually to put it in this way in the beginning, because just looking at the lot, saying, it's only this wide, but it's this deep.
Yeah.
And, but to look at it that way, it just,
No, you want
It
to
don't
see the face
fit.
of the house, yeah.
you know, I don't want to come up around the corner and here's the house with all these houses that look that way.
Yeah.
It just
Like to make it as uniform with everybody
loses the
else.
continuity of the whole neighborhood. That's a nice neighborhood.
It is.
You know?
It is a really nice neighborhood. Any other members of the board have questions or comments regarding the application? Any members of the public have questions or comments? There's an old adage in the lawyer game that when you're winning, sit down. Looking for a motion to approve application 2014-020.
So moved.
Moved and seconded? There, we got a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, please say nay. I abstain, that carries 601. Good luck.
Thank you very much. It's kind of an exciting time. Thank you.
Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Have we reviewed the minutes from the previous meeting?
No, we're going to kick that to Tim. I haven't reviewed the minutes at all. We'll take care of it. We'll tidy that up at the next meeting if that's all right. Motion to adjourn? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. That carries 7-0.